Hello, and welcome to the second episode of Season 2 of the Evans Game Plan Podcast. We're joined here today by screen printer, member of a band, lot of things going on here. We're here with Leo. Give it up, give it up, give it up. Okay, Leo, how have you been recently?
Good, man. It's been interesting. I've been traveling a lot between Chattanooga and South Florida, but besides that, man, it's pretty awesome. I'm grateful to be able to do that, so it's cool.
I didn't even know you. I know you because Craig will be like, oh, like you're gonna leave for a few days. I never knew you. What are you going for Florida for?
Well, my family is from. They live in South Florida. Like I'm originally from. Like my high school years and stuff is from Miami, and my family still lives down there. And ever since our son was born, he's 3 now. We've been traveling a lot more down there so he can spend time with his grandparents and stuff. And now my wife just graduated nursing school, so something came up down there. Yeah, something came up down there, so we'll be doing that for a little bit, probably until like next summer or something.
That's cool, dude. Because I mean, you have like jobs in both places. You know, I feel like that works out pretty well. So I know that most of your work comes from screen printing. Mm-hmm. So what would you, if somebody's just asking, what is screen printing, what would you say to them?
Man, that's the easiest answer would be a way to get someone's idea on a garment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's not just garments. Like you can pretty much screen print. Like if I think I can get ink on it, like I'll try.
Yeah.
Whether it be a car door, a window.
A car door?
Yeah.
You've done that?
Yeah. So when I first started screen printing, I was living in South Florida. I was working at a restaurant, and this kid had his car broke down in the parking lot of the restaurant. So I brought a screen to work, and I loaded up the ink, and we screen printed his car door.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And it was just something to do. It was just fun. But you can screen print like windows, coffee mugs.
That's crazy. I always thought it was just like anything. I knew it was like past like shirts and stuff like that, but I thought it was all just like any fabric.
Yeah, no. There's a lot. I mean, there's tons of stuff you can screen print on. Everything from metal to wood. Posters are really cool to do. It's big. Yeah. Like it's not such a. It's kind of like a lost art form, I think.
Right.
Because of the digital age and people don't really appreciate it as much, maybe. But like a lot of like. Punk rock like posters like back in the day where
that's super cool. And
even like bigger like rock bands and stuff would do it in the 80s and 90s and stuff. So and that's definitely like the funnest. That feels more like tangible, like not tangible art, but something you can frame and put up on a wall that just stays there.
Right. And even looking at the ones that we've sort of just like played around with here, they have that like vintage looking, like I could tell that back then that used to be like a prevalent thing or like the new thing back then.
Yeah.
So yeah, screen printing. I feel like when people could hear the name, they could be like, oh, that's, it could be like a dull task or something that's not super interesting. So what would you say makes those claims not true in screen printing, like this whole art form?
I mean, it's just like the whole process. Like I think the reason I like screen printing so much, especially like manual, as opposed to like automated machines that like can pump out like, I mean, I was there's a friend of mine that used to work at an automated shop, and they're talking about like putting out like 300 or 30,000 shirts a month.
Oh my, that's crazy.
That to me is just like absolutely nuts. But that's where like I think the misconception of you just press a button and you get a shirt like comes from. Like the way we screen print, or the way I like to screen print, is like manual screen printing, all done from even like the coding of the screens to the making of the image, exposing the artwork onto the screen, and then like we manually push or pull the ink through the screen. And then there's nothing like, I still remember like that first time I printed my first shirt, and when you lift that screen up and you see your image like on the garment, it's pretty amazing. And then even though like I've done it for a while now, like it still happens today, especially when it's someone else's idea and we can make that happen and they see the look. I mean, I see the look on their face.
Right.
It's pretty awesome to see that they're just as stoked as I am to be able to like help them get their image, make it happen.
It's so much more than just putting an image on a shirt. It could be a whole brand. It could be someone dreamed to have this done. And you're able to do that. I'm sure it's very rewarding work that's sort of underrated.
Yeah. It's cool when we do a lot of stuff for like local businesses and stuff, and some people are really excited and like it's their brand. It's their like. It's their art.
Right.
And So to see them be super stoked on what comes out of the shop is awesome. And then to see like shirts that we've printed like out and about, like even stuff that we've done here in school, like I've seen that I've been able to do with y'all. Like I see those shirts out and about, and it's pretty cool. Just
I know, and everyone talks about them too. Every like there's anytime I see a shirt like that, I'm like, wow, you know, we did that. You know?
Yeah.
And I mean, how does it feel, you know, adding this sort of hands-on experience to Red Bank High School?
Man, this has been like the coolest thing.
Yeah.
Like a few years back, back like 2016 when I moved to Chattanooga, I met Mr. Craig, and we had mutual friends, and he found out that I screen printed, and so we started talking, and we had the idea, like, how cool would it be to like start a screen printing shop like in a school, and have the students run the shop, and we just worked at it. We did stuff. I did stuff like next door at the middle school, and that just kind of like, and then this came about, and I jumped on the opportunity. It's been great to see like just to see things like happen and how it's progressed over the last like couple of years. It's been pretty amazing.
And just seeing kids that are actually interested in it, and you know, like kids that like want to start doing a brand now after what you've taught them. So I know you have a lot of history in screen printing and the music industry and things of that sort. Where did this all sort of start?
Well, actually, like, so the screen printing side of it, the first time I was introduced to it, like when I was in Miami, I was like definitely into like, I mean, I've always been into music and like skateboarding and in that like group of people. And so screen printing was always something like just a way to like, it's a DIY way to make things happen. You know? So my friend's high school had a print shop, and we got in there one day after school, and we had an idea, so we started our own brand we just sold T-shirts for like $10 a piece, like in school, and people like loved them.
That's cool.
But it really like hit for me when in the like one of the bands I was in, we were going to get on tour, and we had no way to making like any money. So the night before, we went and screen printed some shirts. One guy had like an idea of how it worked, so we screen printed shirts in my living room and let them air dry, and that's how we made gas money every show.
That's so crazy.
And then from then on, like, it was awesome to do, but it was a lot of work, and then we didn't have like, you know, the stuff that to make it easier. So then like when the record labels and stuff started making the shirts, and you kind of just forget about it.
And it's less passionate as well. And that's why I feel like the screen printing art, like doing it by hand, you know, DIY, comes with a lot of passion, and it I don't know, it's a more, I don't know, it feels like the right way to print shirts, you know? It's not just you go in there and it's just, you know, it's on the shirt, you know, and it's low quality or whatever. Because honestly, to be honest, I was worried about the quality of these shirts, because I mean, I've gotten, you know, polyester tees and things that I look at and I'm like, oh man, you know, and I was worried that maybe that's what we were doing in here, but it's so different. I mean, it really is. So starting in a, you know, you were in a band, you were touring. How many bands have you been in?
I was in a couple bands, but the one that did the most, that's the one that toured a bunch, and I was fortunate enough to like be with a group of people that were willing to like travel and stuff. We all worked at restaurants. Like restaurants seem like the job that you can like either if it's not there when you come back, then you can get another one.
Of course,
So and I lived in Gainesville, Florida at the time, and it was honestly like a music like mecca during those years. Like there are like a lot of bands that like Less Than Jake and Against Me and like Hot Water Music that all like got pretty big.
There was a good scene down there.
Yeah, for sure. And so yeah, that was like, I mean, that's what kept me like going. You know what I mean? Knowing that like when I went to work that's not who I am as a whole. Like just having a passion, I think, is really important.
Of course.
And for a long time, it was music. You know, I mean, it's always been like art and music kind of goes in there too. But
all those things sort of go hand in hand together usually.
Any kind of way of like just like to get like the creative juices flowing. You know.
Like,
and
to express yourself.
I don't do well with like spreadsheets and like numbers and all that stuff.
No, me neither.
But, I mean, I can like watch a film or look at artwork and photographs and like photography and all
understand
that stuff.
it.
And feel like like I know where the person's coming from.
I feel the exact same way. It's hard to just sort of understand things like the normal way, I guess, when it's like on this or on that. I don't feel it as much, you know. I feel like I can't create with that. It's just it's not in my realm, and I totally feel you on that. So, what inspirations in media or like personalities have influenced your process or, you know, your whole idea to start screen printing?
Well, it goes back. It's funny. I was just talking. I got a friend of mine's a tattoo artist in town, and he's also like an artist, sculptor and painter and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we were talking about like my next tattoo, and so skateboarding. Back when I was a kid, like around like 5th or 6th grade, I started skateboarding.
Yeah.
And that just started to like shape like who I was gonna become. Like I know that now by looking back on it.
Right.
Like when I picked up my first Thrasher magazine.
It's crazy.
And I look at it and I would go to the back to see like, you know, the pictures of the skateboards and stuff and like the spreadsheet, or not the spreadsheet, like the layouts of like tricks and stuff. Like I was just like obsessed by it.
Right.
And it also influenced like where I was gonna go with like music.
Mm-hmm.
Like especially like early on, like skateboarding and counterculture and like music.
Yeah,
all went hand in
I mean
hand.
that like, whole culture, like early, you know, it's like Sum 41 and people like that, and like that whole skating culture in the 90s and early 2000s, was just all like it was riddled with fashion and music, and that's where the whole culture came from. Like it's one of those things you can look at like a skater and know that they skate because of the way they dress, or what music they listen to. Oh, you know, that's skater music, you know, that sort of thing.
Sure. Yeah, I remember. It was like that's how punk rock became like part of my life. Like, and this is going like I'm just going back until like the late 80s, you know, and then when the only way I could find music was like on the skate videos. Yeah. And I'd hear a song and I'd be like, that song is sick. So I'd have to wait or fast forward back VHS days.
Oh wow.
The old cassette and have to fast forward.
Late 80s?
Go to the credits and see who the band was. Yeah. And then find a way to get like that music.
I'm surprised you were alive then. I mean, seriously. Yeah. You were what year were you born?
1974.
74?
Yeah. So in 84, 85, when I started skateboarding, I was like 12.
That's crazy. You lived through some good years, like especially in music. Yeah. Like you got to see a lot of things become what they are.
Yeah. It was super cool. Like radio music is it's fine, it's great. Right. But I was introduced like once I heard The Clash for like the first time.
Love Clash. Yeah,
that was
awesome.
Like, you know, it was awesome. And my sister, I have an older sister, and she was into bands like the Smiths and like and like Depeche Mode and like New Order, and I knew that there was something there. Right. And early days of like South Beach in Miami, I mean that was like the place like we would like. I was allowed to get into like clubs, like even though I was underage. Yeah. So just being around it was like I was exposed to a lot of cool stuff. Yeah. That shaped the way like that. I mean, I couldn't get to where I am today without happening the way it happened. Yeah. Like where I came from.
That's so. I'm sure that early like Miami skating scene was so cool, dude. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
I mean, and it's like you growing up, just in a general sense, you take something from everyone you meet in your life.
Oh, for sure.
You know, and I'm sure, you know, being in that area where that was such a prevalent topic, you know, I can see how that shaped you to be the person you are today. And I feel like that's like one of the beauties of being human, is that we meet people and like they affect us no matter what. You know, it's like you get something from somebody and then it's just like you don't even realize it. And you look back and you're like,
wow, dude, that's awesome that you're like, I'm getting chills from that, because I truly believe that in my heart of hearts. Like, it's all about like relationships. Yes. You know what I mean? Whether they're long-term, short-term, but every interaction that we have, like the human like interaction, it's like one of the, like, I believe is like the gift of being human.
You know what I mean? The gift of being like sentient, having conscience is the ability to interact. You know, I feel the exact same way. I think it's great that even just now sitting in this room, you know, I'm learning things about you that might influence me later on in life. You know, exactly. Yeah, it's like every little moment counts.
Yeah, I was just talking about that this morning with a friend of mine before I came here. It's like I have no idea. Like even with like a complete stranger, just by walking by them and just like an innocent smile, like a hello, could affect that person. Could be having, like, it's happened to me. Like I've been in my head at times and having like what I consider or perceive as not such a good day, and just an interaction with a complete stranger could just turn it
completely
around.
change it.
And
Yeah.
and it's an organic thing. Like I'm not telling myself that things are okay. It just feels okay automatically.
Right. And it's like you don't force those things. You're like, oh, that guy told me this.
Yeah.
Like, now I'm feeling this way. But it's one of those things where it's just like human to human feels so genuine and made, that it's like when that sort of thing happens, it's just like, wow.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
that they're a person as well, and they could be going through things, but they went out of their way to do that.
Yeah.
So growing up in that sort of realm, were you raised in a household where fashion and music was like a prevalent topic?
Definitely music. I would say fashion, I guess it's subjective.
Right.
But I would say questionable. Like my mom was always really hip. My parents are from South America. My mom is from Argentina, and my dad's from Uruguay.
Wow.
So I was raised by my parent, like they're like our Spanish like culture.
It's cultured, yeah.
So it's really like family orientated. So it's really close. And then when we moved to the States, we had a lot of friends that I consider family, like growing up. And it was real, like there were like lots of birthday parties and like family gatherings and stuff like that. So that was pretty. I mean, I'm really grateful for that. Like I was able to I was raised around building community.
Yeah, and I could see how that puts you where you are today.
Yeah, and then as far as like music, my dad is like a huge like music fan.
Yeah,
photography and music is my dad's like jam. And so I remember like being like, there's pictures of me like 3 years old with like headphones just laying back on the carpet, like
awesome,
on shag carpet,
yeah,
and just like listening to stuff like from like early Rolling Stones to like the Spanish version of that, like bands
that's so cool,
like from South America, and it's always been music has always moved me, like it's always been relatable to me, and it's one of those things that in many ways, like when I was able to start, I considered myself late as far as like starting to like play guitar and stuff, but there was a time in my life where knowing that I was going to make music that day kept me going. I could totally, I understand that. I mean, I grew up in a very I'm growing up still in a very music-oriented household. Like my parents... I could definitely tell by some of the shirts and some of the way you present yourself.
My parents have like this giant chest of vinyls. I'm telling you, from
That's
probably
awesome.
the length of this table. And like they had like a music-themed wedding, and like I grew up loving the Beatles and Billy Joel and Yes, and like that. Some stuff I wouldn't even be like. I go through their finals now and I go, "You guys know this?" And they're like, "You know that?" It's crazy because it's like I never. Growing up, I was like, whatever, like my parents' music, whatever, But now I look back and I'm like, wow, they really taught me. Like if I had different parents, I wouldn't be nearly the same person that I am today. And I feel like music is what's gave me such a big connection with my parents, is that's such a relatable thing, like that you can relate with over life. And I feel like music has such a big gravitational pull on people that it's like, you can relate to anybody when you're talking about music. Like no matter what you like, there's a common theme, So I feel like with my parents, that's one of the things like that keeps us together as a family, is that we can all share like, the gift of music.
Exactly, and I think you said it really well. Whether this is my favorite song and your favorite song is totally different, but that feeling that you get when you hear that song, that's the same feeling, and that's where it all like that's where like makes things more relatable.
Yeah, and like I've talked about this a couple of times, that music, what makes music such the overworldly thing that it is that I can listen to a song and you can listen to the same song and we come back and we tell different meanings.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's like it's the exact same song, but we have two different perceptions of it, because maybe the day that you had, maybe where you grew up, maybe because you had this experience with this person, but it's the same song. We come back and we tell completely different meanings of it.
Yeah.
It's crazy how perspective-based music is, and that the geniuses that make it are able to put it out there with one meaning, but it can mean 1,000 things,
Yeah, I've noticed too lately, I've been really in my head about stuff, and I'm trying to I'm working, I'm in the shop, and I mean, you've seen how it works. We're on the press, and we're just one garment after another. And I was like, why do I feel the way I feel? What can I change to make it? Either I accept the way I feel or I do something about it.
Of course.
So I just put on my favorite record from 96. And it's just this, it doesn't really matter what it is, but it's super chunks like this this record they put out. And my mood changed instantly.
Yeah.
Just from hearing those songs.
Yeah.
And it wasn't so much about the reminiscing of a better time. It was just making me feel better now.
Right.
And I think that's huge for me.
And you want to go ahead and pause it, Sean? Okay. Oh, look at that. Oh, what is this? It's our Roar Store order coming in. Wow, look at this. Our beautiful Hayden Nam delivering these drinks. So yeah, guys, the Roar Store hasn't officially started back up yet. You know, we had a great year last year with sales and everything that went on, but here pretty soon you'll be able to order whatever drink you want from the Roar Store. We have amazing coffee, just snacks, anything that can get you through the school day, we have it. So feel tuned in when the next announcement comes out for the Roar Store. But yes, thank you so much for the sponsor. But Leo, you've been an amazing guest thus far, and I think this is a great time to go into our next game, or actually our first game called What's Your Game Plan? The air horns are crazy. It feels like a DJ drop.
Yep.
All right. So I'm going to ask you, this is Evan's game plan, but today it's Leo's game plan. So I'm going to ask you a couple of things, and there'll be, like A through B questions, and you'll just have to, tell me what's your game plan. So who are you making your creative director? Like if you're, your fashion entity. A, Pharrell Williams. B, Rick Owens. C, Matthew Craig. D, Stevie Wonder. Or E, Leo the Lion.
Oh man, definitely not Matthew Craig.
No, definitely not.
I have to say, like, Pharrell Williams. There's something, like, I just remember, like, when I was first exposed to him, I didn't really know who he was, like, and it was like some video I saw, and just the dancing in it and the way, like, he presented himself and what he was wearing, like some zoot suit kind of thing. Uh-huh. It just blew me away, and I was like, this is like, it seemed really organic to me, and it was really cool to watch. And then I just, I don't know him as a person, but the glimpses that like I get from watching a clip, like, or an interview or something that he says is usually like, I mean, we're all human, so I don't know if it's perfect. That's not what I'm trying to say.
Right.
I'm trying to say that it just seems real. So
it's relatable for sure, 100%. Okay. Which band would you want to play at your wedding? If I'm sure you've already had your wedding, I'm assuming, right?
Actually, we did a quick like, hey, let's just go to the courthouse.
That's sick. But okay, so if you had another, which band would you want to play at your wedding? A, Red Hot Chili Peppers. B, Mouse Rat. C, Dave Matthews Band. D, Led Zeppelin. Or E, the Gin Blossoms.
All right, so I'm gonna go with the same. So definitely not like. It's like almost like I feel like sacrilegious to say that I'm not a Led Zeppelin fan.
What?
See, there you go.
Are you serious?
It's controversial.
No, I know. Wait, we gotta take a pause. Why do you not like Led Zeppelin?
It's not that I did. So I gotta go back to like when I was like in high school and what I was listening to, and the fact that like the 70s weren't that far away.
It's like
maybe it was just so like it was such a like not niche, but like such a.
I mean, I'm sure it was like all you heard then because it
was just. I mean, I think they're obviously like amazing musicians, and they deserve like all the notoriety and everything. They're great. I've never owned a record. I don't think to myself, hey, you know what I'd like to hear? I'd like to hear that one Led Zeppelin song. Like I
think you're crazy.
It's never crossed my mind.
Have you ever heard "Fool in the Rain"?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't tell you by song title, but I know. See, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's real controversial.
That's real
that I
disappointing.
Say that. Yeah. But so long story, like I don't own a Dave Matthews Band record.
That's valid. That was put on there. It's like that was sort of like the kicker, you know.
But that would be my choice. So, as far as like I have lots of drummer friends, and so they were like just listen to like the drummer from the Dave Matthews Band. So I listened to just the drum track. And it's ridiculous how good.
Yeah, I mean, the drummer, yeah.
I don't own a record. I couldn't tell you the name of their song or anything, but
Crash Into Me is a good song. I mean, I appreciate that.
I know that one. And then also, this is a like silly like tidbit, but I played music with a friend that was from he went to school at Virginia Tech, and he was in some fraternity like rock band, and they opened up at a fraternity party for a Dave Matthews Band, like way before.
That's sick.
Way before they even got big. And he was like, I don't know, dude, he seemed like a really nice guy. Like Dave Matthews was a really nice guy. So that goes a long way for me. So I think it'd be cool.
Of course, yeah. You don't like the Gin Blossoms?
Yeah, I just know that one song. You know,
yeah.
Drive around this town or something.
Oh, Hey Jealousy?
Yeah,
okay.
That's a good one, but
I was gonna put like more like alternative like niche bands. Like I was gonna put in Neutral Milk Hotel. You know Neutral Milk Hotel?
Oh yeah.
I was gonna throw that in, but I was like, I don't know if Leo's gonna know all that. Sorry,
no, that would be like that would be if that was in there. I'm a big fan.
I have In the Airplane. I have it on vinyl. That's the only one I have of them. But I love Neutral Milk Hotel.
Yeah, no, they're pretty awesome.
Okay, which high school would you rather work for other than Red Bank High School? A, Hogwarts. B, Monsters University. C, School of Rock. D, Gotham University, or E, Eastridge.
I'd have to go with Hogwarts.
Hogwarts. That's an amazing pick. I love Hogwarts.
Back years ago, I used to live going back to Gainesville and like playing music. All of us in the band lived in a house. It was a 2-story house, and there was a room legit underneath the stairs.
Are you serious?
And that's where I slept.
What?
So
you slept in the Harry Potter room?
Yeah. So like it was like the house was called Hogwarts because it was brick house and it had all these vines and stuff. And the joke was that I was a wizard. So they're like, you're a wizard, Leo.
That's hilarious. Did you guys record records in there?
We did a lot of like this is going way back, like 8-track. Like,
wow.
You know, like the press play and record kind of thing. Just to demo our own stuff, and then so that we could hear it, and then when you go to the studio, we would spend the time in the studio wisely, because studio time, like even when it's on like lo-fi and DIY style, it can get expensive.
Right. So would it be like reference tracks for you to like build on top? Yeah. So actually back in the day, the Chili Peppers, they bought like a huge castle during their like punk rock days. Yeah. I think it was when they were making, it was either Freaky Styley or maybe it was something later than that. But they like made their whole album in this creepy like castle and stuff. So it's like everything around you can influence the music that you make.
For sure,
yeah. So I feel like being in a house like that, like, do you think it changed the way y'all made music?
Oh, for sure. Like during those years, like in Gainesville, the houses, like most houses, like had names. So like there was like the 911 house, which was a house that had a lot of shows, and one band came out of there. Section 8 was the name of the band, and so there was other bands like going back to like so there's a record label in Gainesville called No Idea. It's not around anymore, but so they put out stuff early on, and so they put out Less Than Jake, like 7-inch early on that just blew up. So there was like a joke, like the Less Than Jake house, which was actually where VAR lived, and ours was just called Hogwarts. And there's a bunch of stuff like that. But talking about the Chili Peppers renting out like this crazy like mansion style thing, I thought it was awesome that like I'm a Foo Fighters fan.
Awesome.
And
Dave Grohl.
Yeah, so that's the reason. So they it was a few records ago, probably like their second record was recorded in this house, like, and they realized that they're just gonna need another guitar player because they couldn't. Like, they were laying down so many guitar tracks that they were going to need a second guitar player, and that's why they have a second guitar player now. But it's pretty sick, I think, to be able to... The closest I've ever come to that is, like, to sleep at a studio for a couple days.
Yeah.
And to be honest, that was the worst record we ever did. We had to re-record it because we just made it a party for 2 days, and the music was horrible. But it was definitely a fun experience.
Right. I mean, yeah, and I mean it can change it good or bad, you know, wherever you're recording it at. I can definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
I can definitely see that. Sleeping in the studio, man, that's insane. So, going back to like screen printing and stuff. So, how do you think the current fashion trends of like high-end fashion or fast fashion, you know, coming back into it, has that personally sort of affected your business?
Yeah, it's cool to see that. So I've been doing it as far as like I mean, the adventure I'm on now started back in 2015, right? And I feel like that was like the tail end of like people making their own, like, I mean, this is probably might not be true, but from my perspective, it seemed like that was like towards the tail end of like people wanting to make their own brand and make their own stuff. And then in the last couple like years, just living here in Chattanooga, there's been tons. When I say tons, I probably like, let's say 5 or 6, which when at the time there was none, 5 or 6 feels like a lot.
Feels like a lot, yeah.
But so like the streetwear side of stuff is coming back, which I think that's the part that I love. Like, we live in Chattanooga, there's lots of adventure, lots of rock climbing, so there's like tons of that stuff around. That's really cool. But as of late, like I've seen more of like the cassette skate shop is putting out like cool stuff, which I think is inspiring. Like like people to make their own streetwear again.
Yeah,
you know?
I feel like I feel like the popularity of DIY fashion and wanting to make your own brand has skyrocketed.
Yeah.
I mean, there are so many people call them like Instagram brands or whatever of people that genuinely are just making clothes, like screen printing and sewing. Like my buddy, Asher Bell, who was just on the podcast.
I think that's amazing. Yeah.
He has been sewing his own stuff and like he's done a lot of stuff with dude. He's like, hey, I want to start making my own brand. So it's like that whole process is doing like a whole 360, which I feel like along with baggy clothes, big shirts, this whole skater street feel has done like a huge just turnaround.
Yeah.
In the last few years.
Oversized shirts and pants, but definitely the oversized shirts is cool because as a screen printer we get to do oversized prints.
Oh,
and there's nothing like there's a time and a place I think for everything. Sometimes like less is more, but sometimes more is more.
More is exactly.
And it goes back to like for me it kind of all goes back to like skateboarding played such a huge role in my life. That like Vision Streetwear. I mean that was just that logo. I mean you put that on anything and it was usually big. It was awesome.
And I mean all those early skate brands like gosh, I'm trying to think about. Okay, I mean there's plenty, but they all used to just throw that huge logo on the front, like, and that's what got them out there.
Yeah, especially like new brands like New Deal and stuff. Like going back to the music thing for so long, like skateboarding seemed to be like a punk rock kind of like thing, and then like early '90s, like hip hop and skateboarding went hand in hand.
Yeah, went hand in hand.
So
exactly.
that's when like the clothes started getting bigger, the prints started getting bigger, the locations were different. And then bands like the Beastie Boys were like being featured on like skate videos. Yeah. And that's the way we, so dated, but that's the way we like, that's where we got our info.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? From skate videos.
Yeah, from skate videos. I mean, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the movie SLC Punk?
Yeah, for sure.
Matthew Lillard?
Yeah,
that's your whole like upbringing. That's what it's reminding me of. Like things, I mean, being around that early punk scene, I'm sure was awesome.
Yeah, it was great, and it goes back again. We were just talking about it, and I think it's so important, like relationships and community. So there's so much more, like Joe Strummer from like the Clash's Joe Strummer. Like he mentioned once that like punk rock is like exemplary manners towards others. You know what I mean? It's way past like the cliche of like the mohawk and like the spikes and like
oh, I'm going against the industry, right? Yeah.
It's just more about community and like taking care of each other, and especially like I think that holds up in at any time, especially nowadays. Like I think we need to like look out for each other and just like every time I see a "Be Nice" like sticker, it warms my heart because it's like if we can just be nice, and that's basically what I mean that's what everything is sort of based on for me, like music and friends and like help one another out and
if you're nice to somebody. It's gonna make them. It's a whole process. It's like tennis. It goes back and forth. It's like you're nice to somebody that influences them to be nice. They be nice. It keeps on going. And it's like you're gonna go so much further in life if you're silly and genuine than if you're cool and fake.
Yeah.
It's just like you gotta put yourself out there because it's like if you're not. Telling people to smile because it's not cool, it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, and you'd be surprised, like, at who you can affect by just, like, by your actions, you know what I mean? Because there's I've been down and out and I've seen a good deed, like, whether it be across, like, the parking lot or in the store, and it just, like, again, like, warms my heart, like, to know that people can just, be nice to
one another. Right, and I don't like when people are like, oh, my faith in humanity is gone and my faith in this and that. Like people are like, oh, the government and the world's going down. Everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it. I mean, things happen every so often that make everything seem so bad. But you know why? Because we don't have an optimistic role model in front of us.
Right.
If we had somebody in front of us that was telling us all the good things that were happening in the world, a lot of people would be 10 times more happier. Because the only thing that's put out there is that bad things are happening, but people forget about what's good.
Yeah.
And there's so much of it. There's so much good in the world that's not being seen or not being said that could change everything,
Yeah.
And I feel like if we had an optimistic leader in front of us, we would be doing 10 times better as just a nation in terms of, like, optimism.
Yeah, I also think just as humans as a whole, I always feel it's like, I think to myself, like, who am I, like, when nobody's looking? That's, like, the real me. Is that person, like, you know what I mean? Do I want am I an honest person, or do I want the reputation of being an honest person?
Right.
You know
and
what I mean?
Well, the thing is that it's like confidence in its own isn't real. It's all fake. Confidence is not a real thing. It's just something we put in our, we say to other people, like, I'm good at this, and I'm going to tell you that I'm good at it, or like that I feel this way. And,
That's awesome.
You go home. What do you? It's not a real thing. Confidence is just something we make up, to tell people. So it's like, if you think you're going to be something, you are that already because you've said it to somebody. And it's just like that's how I feel.
Yeah. So going back to the screen printing thing, I remember early on, like I have a friend of mine who's an amazing like woodworker, and I felt like he was already in it and he was doing it. You know what I mean? That was his his thing. In my eyes, that's who he was. Who he is.
Right.
And I just remember talking to him. I was like, man, I can't wait to get to the point where like I'm actually doing it. And he's like, dude, you're doing it like right now. You know,
right.
So it's all part of going back to like I can't get to here without going
right
through what I went through from there. You know what I mean?
And so, it's also like, you don't know how well you're doing until someone says it, or like you get, or you just look at because you were already getting there. You didn't even know. It just takes yourself taking a few steps back and really giving yourself props, and feeding off your own accomplishments, because I know it can feel vain sometimes, to be like, oh, I made this happen, but I mean, if you take out 5 minutes of your day, just sit there and appreciate the things that you've done, you'll feel so much better because you have, even if someone hasn't noticed it, it's been you.
Right on. Yeah. I feel like I totally derailed your question.
That does not, dude. There's no reason to listen. All of my podcast is improv. I write down maybe 5 or 4 questions that it's like, okay, you know what, I'll get to these, but the rest,
that's cool.
What we're doing right now is the best thing I could have asked for, honestly.
That's super fluid, man. That's cool. Going back to like reference points that I have, when I see the ones that are really like structured and like answer the question and then the next question and the next question, and there's no like branching out from the question onto a different topic.
It's inhuman.
Yeah. Goes back to being human.
Exactly. And it's like the best podcast that I've had the best podcaster that I've had in general. Like, I had Coach Davis on, and I probably asked him 2 questions that I wrote down.
Yeah.
And then the rest was all just him and me. You know what I'm saying? I hadn't even talked to him maybe twice in my life. But then we sat down and we spoke, and it just kept happening. That's how I feel like ours is going too.
Yeah.
And it's like, genuine, connections like this is what I want to put out there, because it's like, this isn't supposed to be some sort of movie production or anything like that. It's supposed to be, 2 people sitting down and talking, that people can hear this and feel like, I agree, or something like that, It's not supposed to be this huge, like, analytical, machine.
Right on, dude. That's cool.
But we do need to get into a game before this ends, so we're going to go on to my game called Music Match. So hope you have some music ready. I'm going to show you some pictures. You're going to see if you can match them up with a song. So here's your first one. Oops. You screen printing, you're doing what you do. Looks like with a kid.
Yeah. Man, so let me get back on the mic. That was pretty awesome. That was at Eastlake Elementary. And there was a fiesta, I think it was called Fiesta Book Club or Book Fair or something.
Yeah.
And that was pretty awesome. So I gotta pick a song.
Yeah, like any song you would associate with that moment.
Oh man, dude, I feel like I'm totally on the spot.
Yeah, I know. I feel like I
should have, because I want to pick like something really deep and like the best one.
Yeah.
But I think if I were just to go off to like top of my head, man, what now like I'm drawing a complete blank. Let's see what I was listening to recently.
When I looked at that, I thought Jack Johnson. Just innocent,
Man. You got the hands where the time is going. I'm totally bugged out.
We can go over.
Yeah, I got, trying to look and see what's coming over there. Dude.
Just shoot me, choose whatever song. There's many.
Yeah, I know there's a ton, but I feel like that moment was just like, again, going back to community.
so special?
Yeah, dude. I don't know. Whoa, this is it's. You know that one, that song "Lean on Me."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There you go.
That's a good one. That's a great pick. All right, here we go. Another one. This is more recent.
Yeah, dude. That was over at Velo Coffee during a market. This one's like totally like deep thought. So I'm gonna go with.
I noticed all your pictures are landscaped as well.
Yeah.
They're all to the side. I noticed that.
Yeah, I feel like that like horizontal, that vertical is kind of weird in the way like.
Doesn't tell the full story.
Yeah, like the way my mind sits for photography. I'm gonna go with. Man,
I really.
Dude, I'm just gonna go with this band Pavement.
I love Pavement.
Summer Babe.
Awesome, that's a great song.
It was summertime, and Pavement's one of my favorite bands.
You like Pavement?
Whoa, this is hilarious.
Yeah, I seen that and I was like, oh, that's sick.
So this is like, so that's my wife, and these are two friends. And this picture was taken, and I think I might have put a comment like questioning whether is this a band or just a picture.
Yeah, that's what it said.
So so my wife and John right here were in a band a little while before this picture was taken. And so they had a song. Their band was called Chinese Nightmares, and the song was called Self.
Oh,
so I'm gonna go with that. You probably can't hear it anywhere. I don't think there's any like documentation of it like on the internet, but I'm gonna go with Chinese Nightmares, Self.
Alrighty, well thank you Leo so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you, man.
Of course, man. You guys go. So what's your you have a brand yourself, yes?
It's funny, this whole thing started as it was going to be a brand. And to facilitate the brand, I learned that if I print someone else's stuff and they paid me for it, I could then fund my own.
Yeah.
And then so my own brand like fell to the side really quick. But on I guess like my only like social media would be Instagram. It's Our Luck Print. And these days it's just pretty much posting what I've done for others or what's going on like around me, but I am thinking about just just start making this, like I ride a lot of bicycle, and so I have this idea of broad highway bikes as a brand. I feel like it's kind of like hippie and peace.
Yeah, it sounds like.
Yeah, the broad highway I feel like to travel on, and if you ride bikes and you get to do it with someone else, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm probably start doing that, and I have a lot of friends that ride bikes, so it'd be easy just to talk them into giving me a couple bucks to wear the shirt. Right.
So, shout out to Leo. Shout out everything that he's doing right now is amazing. If you see a Red Bank High School shirt, know that he was involved in it some way, somehow. And yeah, thank you so much, Leo. And that was a great episode. And we are done.